Mr. Death Breath.
Let's talk about some movies that I'm excited for this year. These movies are confirmed and they have trailers and we know they're being done. We're not talking about movies that might be coming out like, a new Final Destination or anything that's been spoken of but not confirmed. So in no particular order, let's start with Little Bites. Little Bites it's written and directed, I believe, by Spider-One, Rob Zombie's little brother. You might know him from Power Man 5000. And basically, this is about a lady who has a vampire in her basement, and she's feeding people to it. It looks really interesting. It has an interesting premise. It is very similar to Hellraiser in the sense that, she was feeding, the former wife of whoever was the husband in Hellraiser was feeding bits to her brother-in-law. Her brother-in-law, Frank. Very similar like that. Very interesting idea. And it looks really entertaining. And it's definitely something to check out. Companion. So Companion is about a sex bot. It's about a sex robot that ultimately is set to a mode where she can't defend herself and essentially just is what she is, a piece of hardware used for sex. And somehow she becomes self-aware and decides she wants revenge and changes her settings from, docile to murderous. I know that sounds really weird and the whole thing sounds very strange, but this movie looks like it'll be funny. It looks like it'll be fun. It looks like it'll be a big gore fest, and I'm really looking forward to it. The Monkey. So The Monkey is based off a Stephen King book, or so it says. 1408 was based off a Stephen King book, but it was really a couple pages, and everything else was filled in by the writer of 1408. So essentially it's this monkey, very much like a monkey from the movie Monkey Chimes. Time it's around, people die. I don't know why it doesn't affect the main people in the story, but they always seem to be around tragedy where people die. This is another movie where it looks like it's going to be super violent, very fun, and very funny. And it just looks wild. I'm really excited about this one. 28 years later. 28 years later takes place 28 years later, presumably. I haven't done the math. If you're a fan of 28 days later, 28 weeks later, well, guess what? We're back. And not only are we so back, as they say, but it also shows like it has cults and it has, rage virus monsters still alive somehow. And it looks interesting. And honestly, even if it's a bad movie, the fact that they're still making a movie all these years later makes me excited to want to see it. It has a lot of potential and it could be good. So I'm looking forward to it. Heart Eyes. So Valentine's Day slashers is no stranger to the holiday. I mean, as we have the movie Valentine, which I highly recommend. Denise Richards, David Boreanaz, guy killing in a cherub mask, fantastic. And then we also have My Bloody Valentine. You have the Canadian classic, I believe, from the late 70s, early 80s, and then you also have the remake, which came out, I believe, in like 2010. While I'm not actually a fan of My Bloody Valentine, I did enjoy Valentine, and that was a pretty entertaining movie, despite its flaws. Hard Eyes looks pretty fun. It looks like it's going to be fun. It looks like there's some creative kills just in the trailer. But then again, who knows? But I am looking forward to seeing that. Until Dawn. I am no stranger to the video game. I enjoyed it. And the premise essentially is you are living a horror movie. So what the creators of this movie do is they decide to take the concept that when the people die, they die, very much like in the game, when you die, you die. But instead, the characters come back to life and they're in another type of horror movie. And it seems like they have 13 lives to try to solve how to get out of the situation. Otherwise, they're dead forever. Now, I know it's another one of those situations where it's a hijacked IP, where essentially they take the premise and they kind of morph it into their own thing. And sometimes it's a shame. It happens. It's not always the best. But in this case, I'm actually for it because it seems like they're kind of taking the idea and keeping the aesthetic. And it seems very much like in tune with the vibe of the game. Well, adding a new twist. And I feel like this whole game mode or story mode can be easily a game mode, like a mini game mode, like a horde mode or something, as a mini game in the game itself. And it's really clever and it looks really fun.